good. Like snot should. So it's raining again. We have been very blessed in that we've lucked out. We've torn crazy weather just north of us and south of us and east of us and west of us. But we've just been getting a little. We got maybe an inch or so of rain. But it's just what can I say? But The Walking Dead, you see them everywhere, right? All they can talk about is how their life sucks, right? Or how much more they want, or look at my new car, or all of the above. They are not really checking in to what their life is about. Their life is about love's co-creation. That's what it is. You call yourself a Christian, you call yourself a Hebrew, you call yourself a Muslim. All are Abrahamic religions, right? They all go back to Abraham. And in the beginning to Exodus, pretty much everyone was in the same gene pool, right? Um, and that is pretty much all human beings. We're all in the same gene pool. Now I'm an African American that's melanin challenged, and so I'm also Hispanic and Japanese, right? And I'm also Tibetan. hmm And I lean very close to my gorilla family too, right? So um, here we are, April 3rd, I think it is. And yesterday, I've been for the last week dealing with the medical scene, right? They want me to have open heart surgery. They want me to have this surgery. They want me to have that, but they don't want to give me orthopedic shoes. They don't want me to. Oh, you don't have diabetes. You're pre. No, because I'm very good with my diet. I take my meds, and I also take all the cinnamon and coumarin and turmeric and all of those, right? So I keep my blood sugar between 100 and 150. I just saw a buddy in the general store, and he's got one of those little patches that tells his blood sugar all the time, right? So he doesn't have to prick his finger. But he's got this thing jacked into his body, right? And putting it out on Bluetooth to his phone. So his blood sugar was 380, right? You know, I get concerned if my blood sugar gets above 175. So, uh, and I know what my blood sugar is because I can feel it in the tips of my fingers. I only jab myself and do a strip, um, you know, when I need to. I don't do it constantly. I do it maybe 5 or 6 times a week. That's really all I need. And every 6 months I go to my doctor and have the blood thing panel, and they do A1C. So I keep my blood sugar. My A1C is normally around 6, which is perfect. So he says, you don't have. Yes, I have it. I'm just very good at controlling it. This buddy again, he's getting both his hips replaced, his knees replaced because I weighed 480 pounds. Every joint in my body is shot, but I'm down to 190, and that doesn't put the stress on it. So I wear um, you know braces. If I'm going to be moving around a lot. I have orthopedic shoes, but they don't want to give them to me anymore because, oh, you don't have shorter legs. My orthopedic doctor says, no, you do. But he's not the doctor who signs on for my insurance. It's my GP, and my GP has cut me out of everything, right? And that's the when your healthcare is defined by a corporate entity like an insurance company, you're not going to have any health care. So I'm one guy. All they want to do is cut me open and have me have a bypass and a valve replacement and angioplasty and all, which I don't need any of those. My blood pressure is 118, and the guy says, you should, why don't you eat more stuff so your blood pressure goes up a little bit more. It's like, really? And so this is just the tip of the iceberg. Um, you have to realize, I was just watching this. This is quite interesting. Um, you know,
Campaign message, political message, quote, it's all nonsense. During the Republican primary, a good part of the reason he won is because he was effectively able to convince a vast majority of the Republican electorate that he didn't actually lose the 2020 election, that if things had just been fair and not rigged, he would still be in the White House. So now the question is, can he convince the electorate as a whole whether all of this is truly nonsense, as he is suggesting?
I mean, that's a trick, right, Matt? I mean, you're the comms guy. Trump hasn't done many traditional campaign events. He does have 2 tomorrow, but those are going to be his first in several weeks. Are these kinds of online attacks even more of a campaign strategy now than they were in the past, kind of making up?
Let's start this hour with President Biden's Easter Sunday message. It was a solemn message that read this: Jill and I send our warmest wishes to Christians around the world celebrating Easter Sunday. Easter reminds us of the power of hope and the promise of Christ's resurrection. As we gather with loved ones, we remember Jesus' sacrifice. We pray for one another and cherish the blessing of the dawn of new possibilities. And with wars and conflict taking a toll on innocent lives around the world, we renew our commitment to work for peace, security, and dignity for all people. From our family to yours, happy Easter, and may God bless.
Now, that's a total hogwash, because he is, I mean, people go, oh, we have to support Israel. And we have been supporting Israel forever, right? And after October 7th, we have been sending them millions of dollars worth of weapons, right? And we are still, we have to, get this bill passed to give them $600 zillion worth of weapons. Well, we're sending them hundreds of millions every week. They're not running out of bullets. And what are they using with the weapons, the F-16s that we have, the cluster bombs that we're giving, the 2,500 pound anti-personnel metal bombs, killing innocent women and children, and so when he goes on about that, he is basically what is known as a hypocrite, right? But we have this other guy. Let's see the other guy. Let's see. Play this guy here.
Campaign strategy now than they were in the past, kind of making up.
No, not that one. This one.
The nonprofit organization Faith Forward, a group that says it is dedicated to bringing people of faith together to restore the soul of the nation, is releasing a new digital ad this morning. The organization says the 6-figure ad buy is, quote, meant to communicate directly to faith voters who are uneasy with the idolatry and message behind God Made Trump. That was a video from Trump supporters that depicted the former president as a Messiah-like figure. Here now is an exclusive first look at Faith Forward's new ad.
On the 6th day, God made all of us. God said we need leaders who can unite rather than divide, morals and values, and who don't idolize dictators and bullies. God said I need someone to protect consumers and farmers from greed, workers from wage theft, students from crushing debt, homeowners from discriminatory lending, seniors from overpriced medicine, and loved ones from gun violence. God said I need someone with arms strong enough to protect the planet, strong enough to fight monstrous evils spreading across the globe. God said I need someone willing to give their whole life in service. Together, we make our democracy strong. Thank God we chose a faithful president who doesn't worship himself nor undermine the Constitution he swore to uphold. For such a time as this, we pray to God what is true in our hearts. 4 more years.
Claire McCaskill,
So
a strong, provocative commercial.
that's, Biden, right? And so what you have to do, see, Biden's been in government for at least 60 years. He's been a senator for, I don't know, 50, 60 years, right? And then vice president for 8 and now president. So he has quite the historical resume, right? And pretty much any place that somebody was making money, he was, right? And then you have Donnie, and Donnie is just a piece of work that's like surreal, right? But
Well, obviously playing off of the one that
why can't I bring up Donnie? Let's see this.
Campaign strategy now than they were in the past, kind of making up for time he's going to have to spend in court for maybe a lack of campaign cash to hold some of those rallies. Can he use this as effectively as he did almost 8 years ago?
Yeah, 2 things to keep in mind, I think, color a lot of this. Number one, you're right. Him and the RNC need campaign cash. So look, they want to rile up supporters. They want folks talking about what they're saying in fundraising emails and on Truth Social, because among the donors or low dollar digital donors, they'll get money off that. At least they hope they can. And number two, you look back, actually, and Vaughn kind of mentioned this a little bit too. He has a pattern of using this sort of thing, especially around holidays. And I don't think it's an accident. I think number one, holidays tend to be slow news days, right? And number two, he uses the dichotomy of a holiday like Christmas or Easter with some of these more vitriolic attack statements, because he knows that sort of cognitive dissonance.
people love to get offended. That's why I love my gardener, Bernardo, because he doesn't get offended like white people do. Like if I assume he liked tequila, my sister would be like, why? Because he's Mexican. But Bernardo would be like, why? You got some? The last thing on his mind is racism. I asked him if he deals with any bigotry. He said, no, only little trees. Nothing safe. Bernard, apocalypse is coming. He'd be like, what? The world is ending. He'd be like, oh. So do you pay me now or no? People love to get offended. That's why I love my gardener.
Anyway, you have to realize my real stick on here is, guys, you have not ever had, we live in a republic. We're not a democracy, right? Look at how our Constitution, it's set up. We have a federal government and a state government, right? And they're like two different countries, right? We have 50 like little countries in our border of the contiguous USA, and we have congressmen for lots of congressmen for different districts. And we have 2 senators for each state, no matter how big. Look at California, biggest populated state, 2 senators. You look at like Rhode Island, 2 senators. We don't have a popular vote for president. We have this electoral college thing, right? So what's her name? Hillary Clinton won by 6 million over Donald Trump, but he became president because of the electoral college, right? Same thing with George Bush, instead of Al Gore, and it goes Truman, and you don't even remember the guy who won, Dewey, so you don't understand that we live in a hail hydro globalized world, right? And what is ever happening is, you just have to look who's making the money. The boat smashes into that big bridge. Oh, Al Qaeda. No, I don't think so. Who makes the money? It's like when the World Trade Center went down. Larry, the guy who just bought the World Trade Center, meaning not just the towers, but everything, he had that for less than a year. He got because when Bill Clinton was president, the Arabs attacked the World Trade Center by putting a truck bomb in the parking lot in the basement, right? And they parked it in the middle of the parking lot. So all the explosive thing went straight up and took out 2 floors above. But if they had put it against the wall where the Hudson River was, right, and put, plate steel, like half-inch plate steel on one side of the truck, and had the explosives here, and had the parked it so the explosion would have gone that way into the wall, the whole Hudson River would have come into the basement of the World Trade Center, and every subway line, every train, the PATH trains, every train line that's a tunnel coming into Manhattan goes through the World Trade Center. If they had done that, parked the truck over there, it would have killed maybe 2 million people. If they had done it like at rush hour when everyone was in the subway, whoa, baby. Everyone's saying, if you've ever rode the New York City subway, the subways are going along, and it like you hear, it's like the third rail, it gets stuck. You're there for about 5 minutes, and then you move. I just think of this, all those tunnels filled with water, high voltage electricity. And where the Hudson comes into the, that's right next to the World Trade Center, it's the highest point. So all those tunnels of subways, so why didn't they do it? The guy who built this bomb, he was an architect, he was an engineer, the blind sheikh. Why didn't he put it just 200 feet over there? Why did they park it in the middle where you could really see it? Big truck, all the rest are cars, big truck, middle. And why did, there are a lot of why dids, right? So after that, they made some real severe, insurance and protocols and all kinds of. So when Larry bought that place, and he got this gigantic insurance for terrorism, and with double indemnity if airplanes fly into the World Trade Center, and he got, he put $6 million down, and he got a mortgage, right? And he got this super duper insurance, and within the year, the buildings were taken down. And see, nobody wanted the World Trade Center anymore because they were economically unfeasible. Nobody wanted to be in them anymore, right? They went to the bee's knees anymore. And so you couldn't make money on that real estate, that property, right? And you couldn't take the buildings down because when the buildings were built, they were built with so much asbestos in them. Asbestos is great to stopping fires, right? I was an apprentice electrician on those buildings. I saw how they were built. They couldn't come down. The structural, each floor was an acre big, had no columns. The load was on the outside. It was like a steel cage. It was called a bird cage. And it was designed for 2 707s to smash into a building at the same time and not phase the building. And a 707 is built like a tank, where 757 is like an aluminum thermos bottle, has no real mass, right? Has big wings, 2 gigantic engines, and this thermos, right? And so the airplane should have just crumpled on the outside. And airplane fuel burns at 300 degrees. The external structural things would take 2,800 degrees, like for a day, to melt the steel, not 300 degrees for an hour and a half, right? So Larry was never going to be able to demolish the building and build the building he did build, right? That now makes money, the whatever they call it, the Freedom Center or whatever. But because it was, and if you remember those pictures that would play over and over again, and you can't find them anywhere, it showed the buildings coming down like a waterfall of dust, not big chunks of steel and metal flying every which way. It went all straight down into the basement, right? And within 8 hours, they had a ramp built and gigantic dump trucks coming in and taking the stuff away over to where big barges were, and they were taking all of it to China, right? And all the people who lived downtown, if they did not protect themselves, died of lung cancer from the asbestos. Right? Thousands, tens of thousands. You know? More people died of the asbestos that flew around that the George Bush, Dick Cheney, EPA said, "Oh, everything's fine, just go around as normal." Tens of thousands, especially the firemen and policemen, right? So anyway, that's the world you live in, kids. So if you think that Donald Trump is going to save you, no. You think Biden's going to save you? No. Just look at what we had 4 years of Donald Trump. Was that fun? No. We've had 4 years of really, 12 years of Joe Biden because he was there. He was more the president than Moron Boy was. And the way we were in Afghanistan for 20 years, we told them we'd never let you down. We'll always be at your back. And like a light switch, we turned out the lights and left and let it and brought the Taliban in, right? And now look at Afghanistan, right? And now women, if they say anything, they just passed a law that women do anything wrong, they will be stoned to death. Yeah, that's good. And you Christians, how do you go by that? Jesus, those who has not sinned at all, and you know what's really fun? All you Christians out there who just love Donnie, he's constantly saying that he doesn't have to ask God for forgiveness because he's done nothing wrong in his life. Really? Okay. So it's you guys are screwed. You vote for either. If you don't realize, we already, with the National Security Act of 1947, we're in martial law. With the Posse Comitatus Act during the Civil War, which never got let go. Meaning, there were laws stating that the U.S. Army can't be used against U.S. Comitatus, right? But when the president can declare national emergency, they can. Right? Like when Eisenhower brought in the Army, not the National Guard, the Army into Alabama. When basically whatchamacallit, I get old when I lose my train of thought. So what I see going to happen is, doesn't matter who wins, what we are going to see is a martial law will be declared because we'll have a semi-civil war like we had on January 6th. I mean, if that wasn't a staged event, you look at either side's rhetoric. Guys, it doesn't matter. Republicans, which don't even exist. What is a liberal? Someone who feels guilty about being racist and sexist and ageist and wants to keep their money and doesn't want to give it to anybody else, right? I mean, like I'm experienced. I live on $400 a month, right? Now, I my whole life, I came from, my parents were, they were the American dream. They were, my mom's family, way back. They were the, oh, there he is. There's the star of the show. Chuckles, how you doing?
Well, I'm here to serve.
Oh, well, let's see if my neighbor, she had one of those little magic boxes.
Up the hood. Let's check the oil.
Okay. Yes, I gotta go. I was being. Well, no, I'm gonna go. I can come back. I'll see you later. Okay.